Sharks and shark attacks. This is the top fear among people who ask me about scuba diving. In today's video, we'll talk about why shark attacks happen, how common or uncommon they are for scuba divers, and the myths surrounding these creatures. Abby, will you come say hi to everybody? Hello. she, she looks like she looks like that image of Jaws, you know, when he's like up, up at the surface, like bloop, bloop. Okay, now we don't want to do it. Now we don't want to do it. That was too much. I'm sorry. Go find somewhere comfy to lay. I love you. Oh, Lord. Vámonos. Welcome to Azul Unlimited, where we teach all things scuba diving. My name is Sarah, and I love talking about sharks. They're just so cute and cool. Maybe this isn't the I don't know what this was. Sharks are incredible creatures. They are horribly misunderstood, and so I want to clear some stuff up for people. Typically, when we're talking about shark attacks, we are narrowing down to the great white shark, tiger shark, and the bull shark. These are the bitiest of the sharks, and these are the ones that are depicted by Hollywood and Shark Week as like the scary sharks. Why do sharks attack people? Typically, shark attacks are unprovoked and at the surface, which means that surfers, paddleboarders, and swimmers are actually the most at risk for shark attacks. One of the myths I was taught, and I have taught to others, is that sharks get confused by swimmers and surfers and they think that we're seals. And because of that, they go after us thinking that they're going to get a meal, and then they realize their mistake and they don't finish the meal, the human. But this is actually inaccurate. Sharks have highly tuned senses and are incredible hunters. And although they can mistake a flash of a kicking foot or something shiny as a bait fish or something that they might eat, it's highly unlikely that they are confusing our entire form for their favorite food source, which are seals. So what is it? What actually happens when sharks attack humans? Realistically, they probably just see us as foreign objects in their world. They see us and they're like, what is this flailing thing here at the surface? Or what is this board that is floating through my home? And so the bite is more of a investigative or inquisitive sort of nibble to figure out what we are. Since they don't have hands to reach out and grab and probe, they take a bite. They want to know if we are something of food value or if we could be competition for their food source. Unfortunately for us, this inquisitive little nibble that they're taking is not so gentle and can result in massive injury, loss of limb, and even death. Side note, it feels really silly saying nibble with a shark, but when you see videos of the sharks exploring things, that's what it kind of looks like. They don't have that like hunter vision on. They're not moving as quickly as they would if they were actually hunting us. You can see it when they explore like engines on a boat. You can see them come up with their mouth open and bite on things, but they're not chasing it down like bloodthirsty. And that's usually how interactions with people are, because they're just trying to figure out what we are. Also, it makes sense because, like I said before, when a shark bites a person, they don't come back and eat the person, right? They bite us and they realize, ooh, this does not taste good, right? We don't have like all the delicious blubber that a seal has. And so they let us go. They don't pursue us. Maybe they do pursue, right? Because we start to panic and we flail at the surface, but that's more of like an interest thing. You don't hear of a shark eating somebody whole. Shark attacks and scuba divers. What is the relationship there? So why are scuba divers not attacked as often as other people who are spending time in the ocean? For one, there's the matter of sheer probability. We know that most shark attacks happen at the surface, and in the big scheme of our sport, scuba divers do not spend that much time at the surface. If we're shore diving, sure, we do. We spend some time swimming out to the dive site, but then we spend an hour underwater versus the surfer who goes out for you know, a 2 or 3 hour surf session, they are at the surface the entire time. So there's just like the numbers game there. By the time we get underwater, it is very clear to sharks that we are not their food. The biggest reason for that is that we are super loud. Our breathing underwater is honestly probably kind of obnoxious for them. And that's a big reason why underwater photographers will end up going to rebreathers, because they want to be able to get closer to creatures. Sharks really don't want to be around us. That's why you see so many shark diving operators feeding the sharks or chumming the water so that the sharks will actually be around the scuba divers. There's a lot behind that particular style of operation. So if you want to learn more about shark diving in particular, you can check out my video with Greg from Ginge Under the Sea, where we talk about shark diving. Linked in the description below. Something kind of funny to note, in scuba diving, the percentage of provoked shark attacks actually goes way up. That really speaks to the culture that we have as scuba divers, that there are a lot of people who are going underwater and messing with the animals. And honestly, if you get bit because you were grabbing onto a shark or interacting with it in some kind of way, like, I don't really feel sorry for you. It's yet another argument for not touching anything when we go scuba diving. Sorry, not sorry. Why have shark attacks increased in certain areas? We've seen some increases in different parts of the world, like southern Australia, the eastern United States, and there's a lot of factors that play into this. For one, a lot of people are moving to the coastline, and that means more people spending time in the water. Again, it's just a probability thing. Combine this with the destruction of their habitat and that of their prey, changing water quality, climate change. Sharks are going where they're able to live and where they can find their food. And so ultimately, everything that we're doing on land as human beings, which is affecting the climate, it's going to have sort of I don't even know if it's trickle down effects, you know, because it's like everything is just so impacted by all the decisions that we're making. We're all connected, and humans are the biggest cause to the destruction. And I'm smiling, but it's really horrific when you really look at it. We have a lot to fix, and we have a lot of behaviors that we really should be mending, but that's for another video. All right, so we know that we're the problem. So what's the solution? And why do the current solutions not work so well? Ultimately, if we want to be in the ocean, we are taking the risk of being in their world. Our original solution was to put nets up around places where people are swimming, and now we know that that is a terrible solution. It is primitive and ineffective. In other areas of the world, in Australia, South Africa, they're trying different solutions to see if there's a safer way for both sides, both parties. One is a smart drum line, and that's a series of baited hooks that are attached to a system that sends out an alert anytime a shark bites one of those baited hooks. When the shark bites, information is sent to the team. They're able to go out and catch, tag, and release the shark in a safer area. Another one that is being tested is an electromagnetic cable, and the idea with this is to discourage sharks from coming into areas where people are swimming. I really do have faith that we're going to come up with something that will be safe and non-intrusive, because we've done so many other amazing things with technology, some great things, some not so great things, but I really do feel like we're going to come up with a solution to keep people safe when they do their ocean activities. And I, for one, really want people to interact with the ocean because it's such a healing and wonderful place to be. But until that time, we know that getting into the water is just a matter of risk assessment. In the big scheme of things, we are the scary creatures in this relationship. Overfishing and climate change are killing off these creatures faster than they could ever kill us. And the way that we interact with the environment is creating imbalance in the ocean. And without a healthy ocean, honestly, like we're doomed. I mean, fun times. Everything is fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's cool. I'm just gonna, yeah. Even though scuba divers are not at huge risk for shark attacks, unless you're provoking it yourself, I figured it would be interesting to talk about what to do in a shark attack. Of course, avoiding the situation is the best solution, and the way that you can do that is by using extra caution if you swim at dawn or dusk, or just completely avoid that scenario. You can swim in groups, stay away from schools of fish, especially ones that are jumping at the surface. Avoid excess splashing because you look like an injured animal, and you'll be more interesting for that inquisitive nibble. Use dark clothing and avoid jewelry, and that's mostly because any kind of flash of bright colors or shininess will draw a shark's attention. They call them yummy yellow fins for a reason, says the girl who wears all white scuba accessories. If you do get attacked, you want to punch it in the gills or poke it in the eyes. And I'm really trying to imagine that. It's got to be the most horrifying experience in the world, but it's also like poking a shark in the eyeball just sounds like the Three Stooges. Silly and horrific. Anyway, there are also deterrents on the market. These devices emit an electrical or electromagnetic pulse, which is supposed to interfere with the animal's senses. But they've really had mixed results, so it's not something foolproof. Other shark attack myths: injuries and menstrual cycles. Sharks have crazy good senses, but they are really attuned to their prey. So they're going to be drawn to things like fish guts and fish blood, stuff that our bodies don't produce. So what that means for my fellow uterus owners, if you are on your period, you do not need to worry. We are not part of the menu. I have been in the water with sharks plenty of times when on my cycle and have had zero issue. That being said, if you do have an active injury, if you're bleeding, you do not need to be in the water. And I say this specifically to try to help you to avoid infection. And I speak from experience. Exhibit A is right there. That thing right there. That was a motorbike accident that went horribly wrong, and I had a month-long infection that had to be cut out of my body. It was not fun. If you are injured, don't go in the water. But not because of shark attacks, but because you don't want to get some nasty infection. It's not fun. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. Moral of the story: you are much more likely to get into an accident on the way to the dive site than you are to actually get attacked by sharks. It's such a fun adrenaline rush to be in the water with them. And I really want to help people with this fear of them because they are just living their lives. We're out here screwing everything up. So let's love sharks, yeah? Yeah, cool. You know the drill. Like this video if you liked it, leave me a question in the comments below, and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future content. You can get way more from me over on Patreon, so check out that link and join the community in the description below. And love sharks. Okay, love you, bye. Okay, hair up or hair down? Hair up, hair down, hair up, hair down. I think we're gonna go hair down. It's a little hot in here though, so this could be a terrible decision. We are going to let the mane go, because we're talking about sharks, and I feel a little sassy. Sharks and shark... Ooh, I need to not speak so loudly when I'm this close to the camera, Sarah. It's car time. We're shooting in the city and cars are driving around us. So I put my hair down and I think that was a mistake. I am sweating profusely.